also wish to add that our Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Trade held a session with the U.S. ambassador to clarify what the implications of the tariff are for Ghana particularly. And I think in the next few days, the Minister of distinguished members of the media, it's indeed an honor for me to welcome the President of the Czech Republic, His Excellency Petr Pavel, who's on a 3-day state visit to Ghana. I also acknowledge the rest of the high-level delegation that accompanied him from the Czech Republic. This visit marks another milestone in the long-standing cordial relations that exist between our two countries and reaffirm the political, economic, and cultural cooperation that lie at the heart of Ghana's diplomatic engagement with the Czech Republic. Our two countries share deep respect for democratic values and governance and human rights, and by nurturing these shared principles, we can engage in fruitful dialogue, exchange best practices, and foster mutual understanding. In our bilateral discussions this afternoon, we acknowledge the cordial and long-standing relations that have existed between Ghana and the Czech Republic, which date back to 1961, when we opened diplomatic missions in our respective countries, and have been reinforced over the decades through the exchange of high-level visits and opening of resident missions in our capitals. We also signed a memorandum of understanding on political consultation, a bilateral air services agreement, also known as Air Transport Agreement between Ghana and the Czech Republic. It is our hope that the implementation of these MOUs will reinvigorate and spearhead cooperation in various sectors between our two countries. In addition, we discussed the need to expand the frontiers of our relations and cooperation with the Czech Republic, both at the bilateral and multilateral levels. At the bilateral level, note was taken of potential for trade and economic cooperation. I'll therefore urge the private sectors of the two countries to come together to explore possible avenues for cooperation in various sectors of the Ghanaian economy. And I'm happy to note that tomorrow there's a business roundtable between Ghanaian and Czech businessmen. On trade, we noted that through trade and investment, this can serve as a bedrock of our economic relations, and more could be done to increase the low levels of trade between our two countries. In that regard, I noted that the African market has a population of over 1.3 billion people, and I extended an invitation to the business community in the Czech Republic to partner with their Ghanaian counterparts to take advantage of the opportunities provided by the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. At the multilateral level, I noted the long-standing and excellent tradition of cooperation between our two countries at various international fora, including the United Nations, and expressed the desire for such cooperation to continue. This includes voting on issues that are of concern to both of us, but also to support each other's candidates that are vying for international positions. In that regard, I called on Czech to support our candidature of Ambassador Mohamed Adam to the position of Secretary General of the United Nations Tourism Organization, and reciprocally for us to support Czech Republic for membership of the Security Council. I assured President Petr Pavel of my confidence in Ambassador Adam's ability to lead and cooperate with his colleagues to bring on board a strategic vision for the UN Tourism Organization. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, I went on to commend the government of the Czech Republic for supporting Ghana's healthcare sector through VAMED health projects and the construction of 12 40-bed capacity hospitals and 12 units of 2-bedroom semi-detached houses for hospital staff for the following beneficiary communities in Ghana: Jumapo, Kwabin, Nkwetia, Achiase, Swami, Drobonso, Sabronum, Manson Kwanta, Edukrom, Mim, Chidie, and Pong Katamanso. I raised the issue of the 50 Bridges project, which has been stalled by the debt exchange program. I urged our two countries to explore ways of re-engineering the project to complete the 50 Bridges program and also implement the second phase of 100 bridges. Furthermore, I acknowledge the continuous support of the Czech government led program of medical cooperation, which is commonly known as Medivac, which is aimed at providing healthcare to vulnerable groups, as well as the exchange of medical expertise and knowledge transfer. On the situation in the Sahel and Western African sub-region as a whole, President Pavel was briefed on the security situation and the measures being taken at the level of ECOWAS and the AU to address the issue of terrorism, violent extremism, and the return of military rule in the sub-region, and to restore normalcy to the affected countries. I added that Ghana is resolute in the fight against transnational threats and the promotion of regional peace and security, and welcome the support of the Czech Republic in that regard. On the issue of climate change, Ghana and Czech Republic acknowledge that climate change stands as one of the most formidable challenges of our time that require collective action. We share a deep concern for the environment and recognize the urgency to combat climate change and mitigate its adverse effects. We agree that our institutions of state, academia, and business community must collaborate closely, leveraging our collective expertise and resources to adopt innovative solutions, promote renewable energy, and implement climate-friendly policies. We also discussed cooperation by the Czech Republic and Ghana in responsible mining, land reclamation, and cleaning of polluted waters, and introducing new sustainable mining practices to Ghana's small-scale sector. On the issue of vocational and technical training, I introduced the Ghana Labor Export Program to train youth in to international proficiency to be able to work on fixed terms abroad, and sought cooperation with Czech Republic for vocational training. I also noted that it was cooperation between the Czech Republic and the Defense Industries Holding Company, DEHOC, that led to the revamping of the Kumasi shoe factory. We therefore discussed the possibility of further cooperation between DEHOC and the Czech private sector to go into more industries for mutual benefit. Following our meeting this afternoon, I am hopeful that the outcomes of our fruitful discussions and the business forum tomorrow will contribute to deepening the relations that exist between Ghana and the Czech Republic in all areas of endeavor for the mutual benefit of our two peoples. I wish Your Excellency Petro Pavel and your delegation a very fruitful stay in Accra, and I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much.
Gentlemen, dear President Mahama, it is my great pleasure and honor to be in your beautiful country as the first head of state after your re-election, but also as the second president in our history of diplomatic relations. The previous visit of the time Czechoslovak president happened more than 60 years ago, so it's really a long tradition which we can build on. Mr. President was so kind to make it easier for me because he went through all the issues that we discussed, so I don't have to repeat it again. I would like to thank you for really very generous hospitality that we were offered, and we cherish it. We see Ghana as a traditional partner in this region. Actually, it is our key partner in terms of economic exchange. Our exchange reached more than $33 million US, and it was the second largest exchange within a decade. Despite some financial difficulties that your country is temporarily going through. And we believe that there is a great potential for extending our cooperation into the areas mentioned already by Mr. President. We are committed to extend that cooperation in areas that will bring benefit to both our countries. We believe in cooperation that creates and maintains added value in the countries where it is produced. That means we want to cooperate at a level of sharing, building common capabilities, and leaving the value here in Ghana to support your industry, your agriculture, support your society. I brought with me a delegation of part of our business, especially with regard to food processing, healthcare, mining, agriculture, and water purification. But there are many more to take part in cooperation in your country. And I am grateful that tomorrow I will be privileged to open a hub, to open the window to Czech technologies that will be open to all your citizens and companies interested in what Czech Republic has to offer. And vice versa, it will be a gateway for our companies coming to Ghana to look for new opportunities. I truly believe that current global situation leads us to more thoughts about diversification, about building on existing partnerships and looking for new opportunities, because what we learned from existing conflicts in Europe, we face on one hand pressure security-wise from Russia, on the other economic and political from our ally United States. And in that environment, I think we all have to learn new ways of cooperating with each other. And I believe that we are on the right track between Czech Republic and Ghana to open that way much wider than up to now. And we are ready to do more with your companies, with your society, with your country. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let me start with the general statement. I think imposing tariffs in such a brutal way really doesn't help either side. It will not help the situation in Africa, but it will not help situation in Europe, Asia, and even United States. Tariff wars are damaging everyone. So in my view, it is really unfortunate to impose such a broad wave of tariffs without negotiating. Countries, especially countries that are allies, should first negotiate, and only when they are not able to come to an agreement, they can exert some pressure. But we haven't explored the opportunities of negotiating. With regard to a number of African and Asian countries, especially those that belong amongst the poorest globally, like Lesotho or Cambodia and Laos, they are charged by the biggest tariffs in history. It could be easily destroying their economies. So I really think that we have to collectively address the United States to rethink this approach and to negotiate, because I believe only by negotiating we can achieve a result that will be both beneficial for the United States, balancing more their trade with the world, but also not destroying countries, because by damaging their economies so much, it would create a number of problems that will have to be dealt with later on. And it may prove much more costly than reducing the pressure on tariffs.
I also wish to add that our Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Trade held a session with the U.S. ambassador to clarify what the implications of the tariff are for Ghana particularly. And I think in the next few days, the Minister of Foreign Affairs will release a paper a statement on what the implications of those tariffs are. But I just join His Excellency to say that we all accepted a rule-based trading system, and it has served the world well because it has led to quite significant growth in GDP across the world. It is unfortunate that without resorting to the rules-based system, one country unilaterally decides to increase tariffs across board on all countries. Ghana got slapped with 10%, which is the lowest in the tariffs that were rolled out. But a country like Lesotho got slapped with 46%. And if you understand that one of the largest contributors to Lesotho's economy is the trade and garments industry, export under AGOA to United States, then you can be sure that it's going to affect a small country like Lesotho. Many of the factories that have set up there might look for areas where they can receive cheaper tariffs, to be able to continue to export into the American market. So it has very severe implications for everybody. And I believe that a multilateral world serves us all better than unilateral world, where people just take decisions based on only their country's interests. We must look at the broader global partnerships and the global interests rather than just our parochial national interests.
Thank you very much.
Yes, this actually came up in our discussion, and it was a key issue that we talked about. There were ongoing projects that were part of our bilateral cooperation, which were affected by the debt exchange because of Ghana's debt default. Ghana, in record time, was able to renegotiate our debts, and so we have completed the discussions with our bilateral creditors and with the Paris Club. And so what is left for us to do now is for the Ministry of Finance to open bilateral discussions on how those particular projects continue after the discussion of the debt. But bearing in mind also that Ghana is under an IMF program, and there's a cap of $250 million that we have to fit all those projects in. And if you look at all those projects, they far exceed 250 million. If we are taking them 250 million at a time, according to the finance minister, it will take us the next 50 years to finish all those projects. So we must also look at alternative means of financing. And Mr. President was very kind enough to draw our attention again to the EU's Global Gateway Program, which is meant to finance key infrastructural projects in developing nations. And I think that that's one of the areas we'll explore to see if we can get money from the Global Gateway, the EU Global Gateway Program, to continue and complete some of the projects that we have between us and the EU countries.
Very much.
Words. I'm truly convinced that temporary financial difficulties of Ghana shouldn't lead us to a conclusion that we should look at the prospect of development of economic relations in a skeptical way. I believe that all the parameters of economic growth are here, and that agreement between Ghana and IMF will open the door also for bilateral agreements, for example, for our IGAP to continue with guarantees of and financing these big projects. But even though these big governmental projects like hospitals, like bridges or acquisition of light combat and trainer aircraft were delayed, there was a growing line of mutual exchange. Because our trade exchange was at a record level. So I believe that there is no room for skepticism. We can look for new ways of financing. There is an interest on both sides to go on with these big projects and open number of new ones and smaller ones under bilateral funding or EU funding through Global Gateway. So I really think there is now a number of opportunities that can improve the situation in a short time. Okay, let me start from two different angles. One is historical. Czechoslovakia used to have very close contacts with a number of African countries. And I believe that if there is a good and solid foundation of relations, we shouldn't let it go. Second angle of view is a new reality. After Russian aggression against Ukraine, we realized that we cannot afford being dependent on any single country. Being it a country like Russia, we were dependent on Russia with gas and oil, or being dependent in terms of defense, like United States. That's why the decision was to diversify all kinds of our relations and building on historical ties here in Africa. We believe that we can do much more in the bilateral relations with countries with whom we share the values and long-term interests. And Ghana is definitely one of them because of a long tradition dating back to late 50s of last century, but also given opportunities present in both countries. So I think we have to build on existing foundations and adding opportunities that are here.
All right, thank you very much.